What is up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and these are my favorite metal albums of the year so far. And hey, if you like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. First, we have Cryptosis with Bionic Swarm via Century Media Records. Cryptosis is a progressive thrash metal band based out of the Netherlands, who seriously turned my head this year with their unique fusion of the raw aggression of Power Trip with the progressive influences of Dream Theater. This is easily the best thrash metal album of 2021 so far, but it's also so much more than that. The riffs are incredible, running the gamut from high-speed rippers and face-melting solos to psychedelic prog and even Godflesh-worthy semi-industrial grooves. The vocals are inspired by classic thrash through and through, but everything else elevates itself well beyond the usual genre tropes. And all the while still cranking out hard-hitting hits like Decipher, Death Technology, Prospect of Immortality, and Game of Souls. The perfect balance of straight banger with a real musician's sense of craft in the performances. Next, we have Pest with Dark Arms Reach Skyward with Bone White Fingers. Pest is a solo technical and progressive death metal project based out of Montreal, Quebec. From all the way back in January, I knew this was going to be an album that was going to stick with me. It's an incredible weaving together of tech death, deathcore, grindcore, and mathcore, all managed by a single highly talented songwriter and performer. And the result is nothing short of jaw-dropping. Oh yeah, and it's also heavy as fuck. Also featuring guest appearances from Jason Evans of Ingested and Vulvodynia's Duncan Bentley. This is a punishing album highly recommended to fans of Beyond Creation, Inferi, Archspire, Entheos, The Faceless, and Abnormality. I know I brought up this album in a number of videos already, but only because it's just that good. Hop on Bandcamp and check out tracks like Nadira, Thundering Angel, Love is Destructive, and Sword Maiden to see what I mean. Then it's The Lion's Daughter with Skin Show via Season of Mist. The Lion's Daughter is a St. Louis, Missouri group that has evolved over time into something that could be best described as Sludge meets John Carpenter and Italian giallo horror. Among the most unique albums of the year, it combines a dark, brooding atmosphere with pounding, hypnotic drums, haunting vocals, and of course, plenty of spooky synths. Sometimes more subdued, others straight up referencing The Exorcist. These keys give the entire affair an otherworldly atmosphere. But what really wowed me is just how much better it all comes together than on the previous effort, Future Cult. Songs are tighter and more memorable, and they really know how to let every instrument shine in different ways from song to song. A true masterpiece that horror fans and metalheads alike can enjoy. Next, it's Brand of Sacrifice with Lifeblood. Brand of Sacrifice are a Toronto-based deathcore band who do it all. Technical deathcore, symphonic deathcore, brutal death, and slam. And what more can I say that I haven't already said about this album over the course of multiple videos? This new effort is the band's biggest and most crushing outing to date, further aided by several guest appearances from members of I Prevail, Immure, Shadow of Intent, Traitors, and Viscera. Experiencing the grooves on Lifeblood is like staring into the Ark of the Covenant. Furthermore, the Born of Osiris-y flourishes of synth hooks are about as bombastic as they come. All of these elements coming together perfectly to make a work of absolute deathcore perfection. If somehow you haven't heeded my advice yet, check out tracks Lifeblood, Demon King, Animal, and Altered Eyes. Then we have Emptiness with Vide via Season of Mist. Vide is the 6th album from the Belgian-based band, transforming and contorting over time from a more or less traditional blackened death metal band into something far more twisted and experimental. Vide sees the band only veer further away from convention in favor of introspection and deconstruction. As stated in their interview on the podcast, one of my favorites so far I might add, Emptiness have always been singularly focused on expressing the concept of their namesake. It's only that the means of that expression have changed. I'll be honest that I did not expect to find myself including this album on a Best of the Year list. But like Casey Affleck in a sheet, Vide has haunted me ever since I first listened to it. What it lacks in traditional metal or even heavy elements, it makes up for in sheer eeriness. In a word, it's unsettling. To go back to what I said in my reaction of the first music video, this is serial killer music. Pulling a complete 180 from that, it's Gojira with Fortitude via Roadrunner Records. Gojira is of course a French progressive death metal band known for such classic albums as From Mars to Sirius and The Way of All Flesh. Fortitude is the band's 7th album following 2016's somewhat divisive Magma, and it seems that much like with its predecessor, the fanbase finds itself again split.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
But me? I think this album fucking rules. Is it the prog masterpiece that From Mars to Sirius is? Hell no. But it takes elements from those early albums, the things that worked on Magma, and some interesting new experimentation, and molds it into arguably the perfect mainstream gateway album without sacrificing intricate songwriting along the way. I've made comparisons to Mastodon and other similar bands since this thing came out, but honestly, the more I think about it, this is structured very much like a Tool album a la Anima, Lateralis, or 10,000 Days. In any case, you can think whatever you want to about this album. I'll be over here tribal dancing to that Amazonia jaw harp riff. Then it's Zao with The Crimson Corridor. Zao is an American metalcore band founded way back in 1993, coming up in the formative years of the genre alongside the likes of Converge, Earth Crisis, and Botch. The Crimson Corridor is their 12th full-length album to date, and according to vocalist Daniel Wyant, is about the place in the mind where depression, anxiety, and anger all manifest under the watchful eye of the shadow self. A long hallway lined with doors that lead to terrible places. That internal sense of self-loathing and despair that we all can relate to, they fucking nailed it. This is a miserable fucking record that offers the perfect counterpoint to the flashier gent riffs and pristine production of most modern acts in the genre. From the raw, almost blackened vocal inflection to the purposefully gritty mix, everything just feels dirty and draining. And while the uninformed may be listening to this description and asking themselves, well, why the fuck would you want to listen to that? I assure you that there's something so morbidly engaging about the overall vibe, and furthermore, the back and forth of the mathy technical drumming and guitars with the more dreary, doomy elements is worthy of your attention. Take the dive, just be sure to hug a puppy or two afterwards. Next up, it's Darko with Darko. Another album that I simply cannot shut up about since it was first recommended by a viewer. But goddamn, it's easily the most addictive album on this list. The complete opposite of Zao, Darko is like a dopamine injection straight to the brain. In fact, you should probably listen to them back to back to balance things out. An easy choice for my best deathcore of 2021 so far list, this one only gets better with every single listen. Darko is the joint project of Chelsea Grin vocalist Tom Barber and Immure drummer Josh Miller. Probably most recommended for fans of bands like Born of Osiris and Brand of Sacrifice, they sport a highly groove-based sound that is largely driven by djenty rhythm guitars, glitchy electronics, and Tom's always infectious and very diverse harsh vocals. Seriously, the amount of sounds and styles he covers over the course of this album should be part of some deathcore vocal textbook. Check out the tracks Insects, Praise the Sun, and Mars Attacks. Then it's Wode with Burn in Many Mirrors via 20-buck spin. Wode is an English black and death metal band that quite adeptly straddles the line between these two genres. This is their third album, and I think it's their best so far. Burn in Many Mirrors is loaded with evil atmosphere and so many memorable moments. You've got the ominous opening march of the drums and tremolo lines on Lunar Madness, ultimately giving way to headbanging D-beats and insidious reverb-soaked snarls. There's the Painkiller-esque drum solo kicking off Serpent's Coil, leading into triumphant folky melodic guitar harmonies that are beyond infectious. And then of course the very tribulation sounding Fire in the Hills with its more gothic atmosphere and subtle organ. It's amazing just how much mileage Wode managed to get out of the usual bag of tricks here, right down to the haunting gravitas of the very Shamash-like closer. Not a second is wasted, and a keen focus on dynamic songwriting keeps it engaging all the way through. And then there's Mouthbreather with I'm Sorry, Mr. Salesman. Mouthbreather is a Boston-based metallic hardcore band recommended for fans of bands like Code Orange, Loathe, and Vain. Similar to Darko, this is just another caveman brain massaging album and one perfect for the pit. It is so fucking heavy that it's almost beyond words. The riffs are absolutely bodying, but Beyond the Hooks also brings some great mathcore riffs along for the ride. More so than anything they have made up to this point, it's the perfect balance of pure knocked loose arf arf energy with a modest sense of the Dillinger Escape Plan technicality. Better yet, there are so many great vocal lines that you'll be screaming along to and will leave a smirk on your face long after. It's bitter, it's cynical, and goddamn does it revel in it. My pick for the best metalcore album of the year so far. And there you have it, but there are even more picks you can check out on my genre-specific lists. You can check out one for Best Death Metal of the Year so far, Best Black Metal of the Year so far, Metalcore, and Deathcore. All of those lists are up for viewing right now. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.